Are you someone who would benefit from having healthier boundaries in your relationships? Well, if you are constantly bending over backwards, trying to anticipate everybody else's needs and keep them happy, the chances are you're feeling pretty depleted and exhausted. Maybe you're feeling neglected and even a bit resentful. If that's the case, then building healthy boundaries is what's essential for helping you take care of your own needs and get more of what you need and want from your relationship. My name's Ruth Ann. I'm a clinical psychologist. I'm an expert in relationships and narcissism. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how you build healthy boundaries, what they are, what they look like, and what effect they're likely to have in your relationships. So let's think, first of all, what healthy boundaries are. Healthy boundaries, people often think about them as being like walls between you and other people. I don't think that's a good way to see boundaries. I see them more like doors. So you may have doors that you bolt shut and throw away the key and never open again. You may have other doors that you open just a little crack, and you may have other doors that you open very widely and really allow someone to know you and feel you and be with you and you with them, and everything in between. And the nature of the boundaries you're going to build with other people are going to depend who they are, what their relationship is with you, and how they've been in the past, what your history is with them, how you feel and how they feel, and how the circumstances you are in might be at that particular time. So there's lots of things that affect boundaries, and they can change and evolve over time. So healthy boundaries, I think it's really important to really know what they are. It's not about a set of firm rules and regulations. It's really about recognizing that you and the other people in your life all have your own perceptions. You all have your own feelings. You have your own wants. You have your own needs. And they may be quite different, but they're all valid and important. And boundaries are really about having those things as an autonomous individual, recognizing that other people have those things as autonomous individual, other people recognizing that you have your own perceptions and feelings and needs as an autonomous individual, and how all of that relates, how that allows you to build relationships with other people in your life. Now, if you have been in a relationship with someone who's highly narcissistic, whether that's been your partner or a parent or a friend or a colleague, you will have probably been in a relationship where your needs have come second, if they've even been on the agenda at all. Your needs have likely been neglected, and those relationships very much depend on you sacrificing your own needs. If you've been in that kind of relationship and there's been any form of abuse, whether that's emotional abuse or physical abuse or sexual abuse, you will have probably learned to pay very, very close attention to other people, to their moods, to their emotional state, to how they are, even subtle things, changes in their facial expressions or body language, because that's essential for you to pick up any threats and to manage the risk to you in that situation. In that sort of setting, ignoring your own needs, sacrificing yourself, and really giving all of your attention to what's going on for the other person can be a survival strategy. It may have been what kept you safe in some relationships. However, I hope it goes without saying, that is not a healthy way to relate. That is not good boundaries. And so if that is the case, the first step to building healthy boundaries really starts with you. It starts with tuning into yourself. It starts with making space and time to understand your perceptions, to understand your thoughts, to get in touch with how you feel, to allow your emotions to guide you as to what your needs and your wants are. It really is about tuning into yourself with an attitude of compassion and self-acceptance. And it's only when you've done that that you can take the next step of beginning to communicate with other people in a very simple, straightforward, and direct way what your needs are, what your thoughts are, what your feelings are. And so that's really where it needs to start. It needs to start with paying attention to yourself. Now, the next step of beginning to communicate with other people in a very straightforward and direct way, you need to think about how you're going to do that. If you start to do that with someone who's highly narcissistic, it's a bit like trying to learn how to swim by jumping into shark-infested waters during a thunderstorm. That is not a good place to learn to relate to yourself and relate to other people in a healthy and reciprocal way. It is probably going to be much better for you to find those relationships, even if they're not super close relationships, even if it's just with colleagues or with friends or with people you don't know very well. Even if that's where it starts, that's okay. And in those relationships, you can begin to share what you think about things. You can begin to share what you feel about things. And it doesn't have to be bearing your heart and soul to people. In fact, it's probably better if it starts with more simple things. If it starts by simply sharing your view on a TV program that you've watched, or a movie that you've seen, or something that's happened, or you simply share, I'm feeling a little tired today, or I'm feeling a little stressed today, or I'm feeling pretty good today, or I really enjoyed that movie that I saw, or that song really touched me in some way. It's sometimes sharing those little tiny details about your life and your perceptions, and allowing other people to do the same for you. And it may also be about beginning to share what you want and need with people. It may be saying, you know what, I would really like a cold drink. Shall we go and get one? Or it may be saying to your boss, I really would like to leave a little early on Friday because I've got something in the evening. Can I make up the time somewhere else? It may be making those very simple requests of people and seeing what happens and seeing how they respond to you. Now, the chances are when you do that, if you do that with people who are healthy enough, who are decent, nice humans, their response will be quite reciprocal. They'll share a little with you about how they're doing. They will ask you for things. They will probably be very happy to accommodate you. And because if this is a healthy setup and you're recognizing that other people and you all have valid perceptions and feelings and needs, it becomes a bit of a negotiation, and it can build and grow and evolve over time. And so, like, to take a really simple example, let's imagine that your friend calls you and asks you if you'd like to go out that evening. And if you've had a good week and you're feeling full of energy, that request may be really welcome, and you might say yes with absolute enthusiasm. There may be other times where you say, I'm not able to do that tonight, or I don't want to do that tonight because I'm actually feeling quite tired and depleted and I want some time to myself, or I've got plans over the weekend and I really need a night at home just so I can catch up on things. And that would be fine, because saying no in that situation is welcome. Nobody wants you to deplete yourself and sacrifice yourself for a night out. People respect you and are glad that you take care of yourself. And likewise, when you're able to recognize that other people have their own needs, if they have to say no to you for some reason, that's okay with you. That doesn't mean that you've asked for too much or that you've been wrong for asking. It just means that's not where they're at that time. So it really is this wonderful reciprocal process of being honest with each other so you can evolve relationships where everyone's needs are attended to in some ways. And obviously, this is going to work best if you have a variety of relationships where different people meet different needs in your life, where there's some flexibility, and that's fine. Now, what's going to happen when you assert those kind of boundaries, when you express yourself like that in a very clear and non-defensive manner in a relationship with someone who's highly narcissistic? It's not going to go like that. They will turn the tables on you. They will say, you're asking for too much. You're being too demanding. How dare you? And you don't really think that. What a ridiculous thing to think. And that, why on earth would you even feel like that? That's a ridiculous. You're just being stupid now. I mean, who do you think you are? How ridiculous is that? I can't believe, why would you even say that? They're going to toe to you in that way, or they may give you the silent treatment, or they may withdraw. Or if you say no to them, they might guilt trip you and say, I can't believe you'd say no to me. Why would you say no to me? Don't you care about me? Don't you love me? This is a very, very damaging response. And this is one of the reasons I always, always recommend that you start in the shallow end, that you start with healthier relationships in your life. Because it gives you a point of contrast. You begin to see that the person in your life is highly narcissistic is not responding to you in a reasonable way, that you are not in the wrong for saying no, and you are not in the wrong for asking, and you are not in the wrong for thinking what you think and feeling what you feel. And that is really important, because if you are going to need to deal with a narcissistic person in your life, and you may be able to put the narcissistic person out of your life. Some people are able to do that, but it's not always possible. They may be in your family network. You may have to co-parent with them. They may be someone you have to work with. And if that is the case, having healthy boundaries with this person is going to require you to be really sure in your own skin and very calmly confident at asserting what you want and need in a way that is hopefully going to work better for you in that relationship. It may not work. They may never be reasonable. They may never respond with reciprocity, and it may be a door that begins to close. Now, my experience with developing healthy boundaries is what tends to happen in healthier relationships is the door begins to open. You get to know each other. The other person gets to know you. They get to understand you. They get to be reciprocal to you, and they get to meet your needs. And that can be such an amazing and beautiful surprise for some people who've been in highly narcissistic relationships. And I hope it's an experience you have, because it's a really wonderful experience. Now, what will tend to happen with the relationships with people who are highly narcissistic is quite the opposite. As you get to know yourself and you get a lot of self-acceptance and self-compassion and really begin to trust your own judgments and feel okay with your feelings and your needs, those relationships will often begin to close. They will have less power over you, and you will probably find yourself saying no much more often with a level of confidence and self-assuredness that maybe you never even imagined possible. Those relationships will transform. I'm not saying they're going to transform into anything wonderful, but they're probably going to transform to become smaller and less important in your life, where the other relationships with people who are healthy and reciprocal will begin to flourish. I hope this video has been helpful to you, and I would love to hear where you're at with boundary setting, what it means to you, how you find it, what you found helpful, and maybe what you struggle with. Leave a comment, let me know what you think. And if you like this video, please do click the like button, click the subscribe button, share it with your friends. I look forward to seeing you again next time. And in the meantime, take good care.